We had Kia Nurse in studio.
Yes.
Darnell Nurse, Sarah Nurse joining us in studio. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, so let's fill everyone in on what happened today and then kind of work back and go chronologically. You were part of 200 professional women's hockey players who put out a joint statement today who said after the CWHL ceased to exist about a month ago, you guys said you are not going to take part in any professional women's hockey league this coming season in North America. NWHL is obviously the one that's left with 5 teams, potentially 7. So that today went trending very, very quickly across social media. First question is, going back a month, CWHL ceases to exist. What were the conversations like internally, and how long did it take for you guys to come up with the statement that was released today?
Yeah, I think going back to that day, it was a shock to all of us. It was a shock to the players, it was a shock to the support staff, the fans, everybody. And so I think from there, we kind of had to ask ourselves the hard questions and really figure out, hey, what's next for us? What's next for the future of our game? And so, I mean, internally, obviously, we're at the World Championships, so we kind of had to put that on the back burner because we're representing our countries. But we really had to ask ourselves what's next. And so when we had these conversations over the last few weeks, we were really working towards what's a sustainable future for our game and our sport, and how do we build that? And so we decided to come together and unify as this 200-man kind of group and really go forward with this.
It's interesting because I heard that there was a conference call with the NWHL's commissioner about the players from the CWHL that might be interested in joining the league. Did you guys not hear enough from that commissioner's call about the sustainability of that league to just say, okay, we're moving over?
Absolutely. I think that was one of our main concerns, was the sustainability of the league. Obviously, moving forward, we don't want this to ever happen again. We don't want 5, 10 years to have another call saying that, hey, your league has been disbanded and they're ceasing operations. So that was the biggest thing for us. And in that call, we did get a lot of questions out. We got some questions answered, and ultimately, you know, we decided that for our future, we didn't see the current state of professional women's hockey. We didn't see that as our best option.
So in terms of and it says in the statement, resources that professional athletes would get that you guys weren't hearing in that conference call, there might be some people at home thinking, okay, so what exactly are we talking about here? What can you tell us about that conversation, about some of the things you liked and some of the things maybe you didn't like, especially financially?
Yes, for us, I think one of our biggest things is we're not treated as professional athletes, and it's tough when we get grouped into that bigger picture of professional hockey players, the NHL, those guys, because we're not treated like they are. One thing, we don't get compensated like they do. We don't expect to make millions of dollars, but I mean, it would be great if we had some livable wage that we were provided to play and to compete in our sport. So finances are obviously a huge thing, but it's also the resources, it's the support staff. You know, we unfortunately, there are people willing to work with us, but it's tough when we can't pay them top dollar for working for us. You know, having a successful medical staff, coaching staff, people in advertising and media, you know, we can't get the best people because we don't have the resources in place for us to do that.
So what we're talking about here is like, I mean, I've read some of it, but we're talking about like $10,000 a year for in some cases, right? Like people, I know that Kendall Coyne said that she was drafted by Minnesota and couldn't go to Minnesota because it made absolutely no sense to pick up and move her whole life for the wage that she was going to get paid there. So it's not like you're saying millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about, you know, just living paycheck to paycheck as a professional player.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I'll be candid and say, like, my CWHL salary this year is $2,000. And I mean, not a game, not a month. That's my entire season salary.
Okay.
Okay. And obviously that's not sustainable. I know I play in Toronto. I can't live in Toronto on $2,000, not even a month, maybe, right?
No.
And so
do you think you would have been making less than that? Again, going back to the conversation you just had with the NWHL, that would have gone down potentially if you would have joined them? Was that what you're telling us?
No. The NWHL, they haven't released a lot of financials for their salaries, but it hasn't, from just talking to their players, it hasn't been what it needs to be. I mean, I think their salaries range from like $5,000 to $15,000 around that range. But I mean, you know, there are a lot of questions and a lot of flags that have gone up.
And there were a lot of promises made that I read about how much they were going to pay, and then one year they walked into negotiations and said, this has been slashed in half.
Yes.
There was no consultation with the Players Association, there was no consultation with the players that were actually having their salaries slashed. So is Is the ultimate goal here maybe to wake up the NHL and say, you know, we saw a glimpse of what we saw at the All-Star game and how people were impressed. Every Olympic year, we see monstrous numbers with the women's game. Could the NHL be the savior in all this?
We would love to have the NHL, you know, back us and back this league. Obviously, they have the infrastructure, they have the resources, they have the model that we really need that could help us be successful. I mean, looking into somebody coming in and saving us, I would really kind of not use that terminology. I think that we're taking a very active role in creating our future. You know, I think by us sitting back and playing in the current state of professional women's hockey, I think that would be passively waiting for somebody to step in and save us. But I think for us saying we're willing to take this year off if this 1 year will help create a sustainable future for women's hockey, you know, 10 to 15 years down the road for young girls.
Whether it be this league or the other league.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I meant this. If I said us, I meant this.
I got you. I got you. Do you think the NHL is anytime soon going to invest in this way? Because I mean, what I keep hearing from Bill Daly is, well, there's currently an existing professional league. Out of respect for that league, we're not going to jump in. Some people interpret that in one way. Others take it another way. How do you take that comment?
Yeah, I guess we have all seen the same comments that they put out. You know, they've said that they will not step in while there is still a viable option, and we kind of want to make a stand and say we don't believe that there is a viable option. And we are taking that stand and saying that the current state of professional women's hockey is not what it needs to be. And so I think that by them saying that, we really want to prove to them that we are willing to stand for this and to stand for the next generation of female hockey players.
So Sid and I are very, very powerful, and we can make this happen. What ideally, yeah, we all laugh at that.
He's not kidding. We're a big deal.
I believe it.
What ideally would the 200 athletes like to see in a viable league? Like, obviously, there's one with resources that can make sure that paycheck to paycheck isn't there. But also, you're talking about, and I know that there are a few franchises and a few, like the Buffalo Buttes had a pretty good reputation that the Pegulas ran it well and that there were training facilities available. Like, we're not just talking about paycheck to paycheck, we're talking about the grand scheme of all of it, aren't we?
Absolutely. I think we have an amazing product that we want to show the world, but unfortunately, under the current circumstances, we can't do that. You know, we have girls who work 9 to 5 and then we practice at 10 o'clock at night, right? And so we don't have the right resources in place for us to be performing at our best. And so we just want the opportunity to do that. We want to be able to have medical staff, support staff, strength conditioning coaches, things like that, so that we can be true professionals and we can put out the best product that we have to offer.
We know Natalie Spooner. We know several people who've played nationally for our country. They're friends of the show. This hurts, doesn't it?
Definitely.
We're looking at this from a proper legalese way today, the statement you guys put out. But I know, playing for the Toronto Furies, I know what that meant to you, I know what that meant to Natalie, and I know what women's hockey means to a lot of people.
And what you put into it.
And what you put into it for not much back. How are you feeling personally about this moment right now? This is a big moment.
Yeah, it's huge. It's hard, I'm not going to lie. Today's been very stressful, and just going into knowing that we were going to put out this statement and make this stand has been scary. You know, there have been a lot of kind of nerves and the communication back and forth, but we're really in agreement that we're united and that we're going to take this stand together. And, you know, we're going to do this together. And so I think we're really excited and we're optimistic for the future of this game.
I think it's very cool.
Was there any? I would have hesitation. It's a big move. Was there some? How much hesitation in the group before finally everyone said, okay, this is the right? We have to do this.
Yeah, I think we all got on the same page pretty quickly. Okay. Honestly, we knew the state of women's hockey, and we were done settling for it. You know, for so many years, people have been like, well, it's just the way the CWHL is run, and that's how things are. And I think we kind of, once the league folded, it was a kick in the butt that we needed to really push for more. And so I think we're all pretty excited, and we're on the same page pretty quickly.
That's amazing, because I mean, we're looking at the CFL right now, and they're heading towards a labor dispute. It's not always easy to get that many people from that many different backgrounds, from different countries, to get on the same page. And I think it speaks to the resolve to get 200 athletes on the same page and say, this is what we need to do. And I think it's very cool, and I applaud it.
Thank you.
And Canadian Olympian Sarah Nurse joining us in studio. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you very
thank
much
you.
for coming.
When we get back to work, you come back in here and we'll talk a little
Awesome.
hockey.
And that is
right?
going to happen.
Yeah.
That is going to happen.
Awesome.
Great seeing you.